Natasha, thanks for joining us. We just saw a promo there for the upcoming podcast. What can people expect to hear when they listen?
Thank you for having me. And people expect to hear just my life experience growing up in the child welfare system from the beginning to the end, to the abrupt end when I turned 18. It kind of dives into what it was like being a kid in care in Manitoba's child welfare system and all that chaos that kind of goes around being a kid in care.
Was it a difficult decision for you to decide to share your story in this way?
Yeah, it was kind of hard. I had kind of kept all that in for so long, but at the end of the day, I really found through this process it being very therapeutic, and I was able to kind of heal and I was able to let go of kind of the past and kind of move, and it has allowed me to kind of move forward with my life, and it was just nice to kind of get that off my chest. There's something liberating and freeing from sharing your story for me personally.
What are you hoping is the takeaway for listeners?
The takeaway for listeners is when I was growing up in care, I didn't have really anyone who I could really relate to, like who I saw who made it through the system and was able to go on to university, go on to live their best life. And so my takeaway from that is to show viewers who are currently growing up listeners who are growing up in care that they can do it. And also my other hope is that listeners who have never experienced a child welfare system are able to kind of understand and maybe be a little more empathetic towards those who've been in and from care.
Somebody may know you as you're young, but a long-time advocate for youth, especially those who have aged out of care. I guess, as you say, you're hoping to touch both those who have been in the system or are in the system and those who are looking for some understanding of it.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to show kids in and from care that they're not a statistic. They can be whoever they choose to be, and they don't need to carry that shame of their story. Like, I was so ashamed of my story for so long, and I felt like it was something that I was embarrassed of to even say out loud, and now it's just me I'm not embarrassed anymore. This is me, this is my story, and that's a part of my story, but my story doesn't end there.
Well, Natasha, I think it's a pretty important podcast, and looking forward to hearing it all. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.